But then sort of instead of as kids just imagining what they're playing around, they would ask us to put together a quest for them. Then, um, the one time us pretending to be a two-headed giant, so we were holding each other when they entered the room. We were attacking them with stuff.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Hobby Hangout with Asu and Dave.
Right?
So, did you know that you can have an epic egg hunt without the chocolate?
No way. So yeah, I mean, the Easter long weekend, which is a holiday here in
Canada?
Canada, and I believe in the US, is coming up. And we wanted to talk about the egg hunts that typically take place during that long weekend.
Or more like the replacement to the egg hunts that we have been
That
doing
we
for
run, yes, yeah.
that we have been doing for several years now.
Maybe just back it up and talk about maybe why we looked for something else. So traditionally, egg hunts involve chocolate and candy and
Competition.
Yes, the one child may not find as many as the other. If the candy's hidden up higher, they can't reach it. So we've gone to several of them, and again, not that they're unenjoyable, but it wasn't the experience that we were looking for, and the outcome of just having a basket full of candy, very similar to Halloween. We don't really indulge in candy very often, and it ends up just sitting
Even
there
our
and
kids, they're
collecting,
not,
right? Yeah.
they like their chocolate, but they're not eating as much chocolate.
Yeah, and then just the overall sugar rush from it and upset stomachs and things like that. So it wasn't something that we particularly sought to do, but obviously we wanted to do something fun. And this led to us introducing, now you can say it,
The treasure hunt.
a treasure hunt.
Where board games are the prize.
Yes, exactly.
Now, they didn't know that though, right?
No, yes, our kids
They
didn't
just
know
know that
that.
there's a treasure.
Yeah. So yeah, we turned it into a treasure hunt with the end goal to solve puzzles and get to a collective treasure that was for everyone, right? It wasn't a competition, it was a collaborative effort to discover the treasure. Now, obviously, when we first started doing this, our son was too young to really do the treasure hunting part
Was
of it.
just running around
Yeah.
chasing the sister.
But obviously, he got to enjoy the outcome. So maybe you want to share a little bit of your experience in what was involved setting up the treasure
Yeah,
hunts?
I think that what I really enjoy doing is anything that has to do with ciphers and like coded messages and riddles. I really enjoy that. And
And I
like,
think around the time when we started this, I think our daughter had gotten like a gift of like a spy kit or something.
no,
like that,
it was one of those mysteries that she will get a letter and she had
Right,
to
yes,
solve
yeah.
each of the mysteries, and like she continued getting the letters until the very end. And that's where she learned, I think, one of the codes. I can't remember what the name of that code was. But part of that, solving the mystery for every letter, like she will get the key, right? Like the code. And then in a different letter, then she will get the message that she needed to the code. And so she really enjoyed doing that. And I think that was one of the things that we used as our message coder.
Inspiration, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even that particular, we used a particular key because then she knew where to look for it.
Yes, yeah. But we over the years we used different things. I know she did receive like that spy kit thing. It's a kid's kit, but it comes with one of those like little black pen or black light pens with invisible ink.
Invisible ink, yeah.
Yeah. And other things like I think we were into the exit games too, right? So that was introducing her to some puzzling and ciphers and codes and things like that, and solving those puzzles. So yeah, we leaned into that. Now, obviously, it's a bit of a challenge to come up with puzzles yourself.
Yeah.
So that was part of the fun for us as well, trying to figure out, okay, their starting point within the house would be this, where do we want to lead them throughout the house as they collect clues, and where would the end of the treasure hunt be, right?
And
So,
that's the difficult part, right? Because the end is you have to make sure that they wouldn't have seen it as they're going throughout the house for the other clues.
yeah. And we tried not to make it quite so linear either, right? Where you're just going from room to room to room. It was sort of setting them down and all the way up and back, sometimes even back to where they may have started. But yeah, I think it's been a fun experience. I may be wrong, but I think we started during COVID, right?
Maybe. Because, I mean, the kids enjoy doing their quests, right? Which is kind of like a smaller version of this. So I can't remember when we went all out. It might have been during COVID.
Yeah, I think it might have been during COVID, or maybe just right before it. But yeah, I think so. Maybe we can reflect a little bit on the first time we did it. I think we did keep the puzzles relatively easy because our daughter was younger at that point in time. It allowed us to look into, as you said, some of the ciphers and keys that she had already established and learned through that mail-in adventure thing. And I think we didn't want to do just like a regular treasure map either, where, this is a treasure map from here to point B sort of thing.
Although I'm pretty sure that the first time you did have a map. I'm not sure if there were still codes or not, but I remember that map because it was very well done.
Yes, actually, yeah. Now that I believe I drew a map with missing pieces on it, and as they resolved codes, it would reveal different parts of the map. So that was one approach that we took. I do recall that. But I think the following year we didn't use the map. We used more riddles, I think, where we started looking at riddles and they would have a cipher to answer one thing that would give them the riddle to where the next location was. So it wasn't just a matter of deciphering the code. It had to be decipher the code so that you can obtain the riddle, and then you have to solve the riddle to figure out where you need to go next in the house. And I think that sort of challenge for us as parents, I guess, to come up with engaging enough challenges, but obviously not too difficult that they're unable to solve it, right?
Well, the other thing is that our son couldn't even read before, right? So he had to rely on the big sister to do all of that reading. So now I actually remember when we tried to do this code where, you have to look at it from a specific perspective to be able to read it, because otherwise it just looks like lines.
Yes.
And we did it on the whiteboard that we have on the wall, and I remember they couldn't figure it out. And so we told them something like, look at it from a different perspective, and they were like from the floor trying to look up, and they just had to go to the side, like they were getting into these weird poses. But it's fun to see them slow down but not get discouraged, like they're still trying to figure out how to solve that. They have a lot of fun doing it. So yeah, this year you mentioned that you want to do 2 sets of complementing.
Obviously our kids are several years apart in age, and our daughter is obviously getting older and probably obviously a little bit more involved in or can handle harder challenges, right? So I've been thinking sort of just to get away from that aspect of they open the puzzle and it's just our daughter solving it and our son waiting. I was proposing that our puzzles be broken down, right? So to solve the puzzle, they have 2 challenges, one that's more directed to our son and one that's specifically for our daughter. And then as they solve them, they need to piece those 2 pieces together to sort of move on to the next stage. Now, obviously, we need to come up with that puzzle. But I was thinking more like almost like actual images maybe chopped up into certain sizes, or like the 10-gram puzzle sort of things, and see if we do it that route. But I know in the last time, I don't think we leaned, because some of the earlier ones we leaned more into like specific ciphers and codes where we investigated. I think you were saying the Caesar cipher, the pig
I'm pretty
pen,
sure I also used Morse code.
Yes, I think you did use Morse code. where we provided them like the legend, and then they had to apply
The key,
it.
right? I think
Yeah,
it's
the
called
key.
key.
Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah. But overall, I guess from my perspective, I do like this because, again, it's not that we're trying to make it an educational experience, but it's definitely a different experience from just
Running around.
searching for
Yeah.
chocolate, right? It's definitely, I see it as more engaging, and tying it back even to that finding fun book, right? This isn't something that you're just observing or absorbing.
Oh, you mean us being part of the fun?
Not just us, but even the kids, right? This isn't something where they're just absorbing the experience. They're partaking and directly involved in the experience. And it gets them, sometimes I know we go outside as well, right? So some of the clues may be outside and then they have to come back in.
Yeah, I remember. So we have this tree house out in the backyard at the very end of the backyard. And I remember when we sent them out, I'm pretty sure it was snowing. And they were like, are we going outside right now?
Yeah.
Like, is that really where this crew is going?
Yeah.
And they were very excited to find all of the treasure inside of their tree house. So yeah, that one was fun.
And I know one year we did it with when my parents were visiting, and we involved them as well, as that they were holding on to clues, and the kids had to figure out that from one of the puzzles that they had to go to a specific one of my parents to get the next clue. So that was fun, and we were able to involve additional people in it. And I think it was last year where I asked, we gave them the choice. I'm pretty sure we gave them, if it was either last year or 2 years ago, where we gave them the direct choice. Do you want to have a chocolate egg hunt, or would you like us to do another treasure hunt? And they picked the treasure hunt. I think it's just a positive experience for all of us to take part in that.
Well, the other thing too is that chocolate, like you eat it, right? And then it's
And
gone.
It's gone, yeah.
And with a treasure, it's possibly something that is going to last them for a longer period of time, right? That they get to enjoy for a longer period of time. In our case, board games, of course, are going to last a lot longer. And yeah, they get very excited with new board games.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we actually also invest time to evaluate and understand what we want to buy as the gift, right? So
yeah, that took us so many hours.
Yeah. We invested the time to try and find something that was family related, or easy to play.
Yeah, to your point, this time we're not just buying board games that we want to play. It's more so, I mean, sure, something that we will enjoy, but something that is more geared towards a younger audience, right? And more like a fun, because like we know our son, he doesn't like to play for that many hours at a time. So finding, I guess, family friendly party games,
short time frames, that can play at least 4 players, so we can play together. So it was a bit of a challenge because we wanted something that was newer too, right? That we haven't experienced yet. We found a few titles, but we weren't able to get them, so we had to investigate again and start looking for other ones. So I think we settled on 4 that I think will be quite well received by the kids. They definitely look fun. It turns that whole event into, at least I think, more of a family inclusive treasure hunt, right? So we're taking part not just in hiding things, but developing the clues, selecting what the gifts are going to be, really putting thought into what those gifts will be, putting thought into the clues, where we're going to place the clues. I remember the one year we hid them, I think, underneath the table, and they came into the room. They figured out what room it was in, but they couldn't figure out where the clue was. Until finally, I think after a little while, I think it was probably my daughter that looked under the table, and they're like, oh, there it is. But yeah, I think overall, to me, it's something that I'm enjoying, and I hope that we continue to do. And who knows, maybe it'll be something that they carry forward as well.
And I mean, every time that we do it, there's like probably several weeks where they keep the clues, and then they keep playing with them, right? And then they want more. And so I think that maybe that's where the questing came in play.
Yeah, because I don't think we did formal quests before then. And just for some context, what our kids like to do is dress up and sort of put on like their own fantasy style costumes, which they'll make up themselves, not a Halloween costume. They'll just put on stuff, wrap it around their arms, wrap it around themselves, and sort of say like, this is my cloak and my arm brace and my sword and things like that. But then sort of instead of as kids just imagining what they're playing around, they would ask us to put together a quest for them, and almost, I guess, role play in a sense,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And ask us to send them on quests to do certain things. And the one time, us pretending to be a two-headed giant, so we were holding each other when they entered the room. We were attacking them with stuff. So yeah, it's fun. And to your point, I think the treasure hunt is what led into that, because we were essentially providing them that structured, guided scavenger hunt, right, sort of thing, and they extended that to actually sort of storytelling and role playing into how they play with their toys.
Yeah. I can't remember which one came first, but I do remember that the quests with clues, that was definitely after, because they were so into the treasure hunt that they wanted more.
Yeah.
And so we had to develop some other clues. It's not as well thought out because we don't have time. Like, they just come up with the idea of they want to quest that day, and so we just have to put something together within a short amount of time. But yeah, to that point, I think it's more so that they enjoy the experience, and the treasure is just an added bonus, because they're not asking for more games afterwards, right? They're asking for more questing.
Yeah.
So to me, that indicates that they're enjoying the actual experience of doing all of this hunting around.
For this year's, any thoughts or challenges that you want to introduce? Anything new aside from just ciphers and codes?
I don't know, because I like to tie it back to something that we're familiar with. And so something we're familiar with is, now that we're coding in Scratch, right? Is there something that we have learned from that we can potentially use as instructions? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I like your idea of like having that separation, one clue for our son, one clue for our daughter. But I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that every time we're like, oh, we gotta prepare, and we end up preparing the night before, and we're rushing, trying to get everything.
Do you think we should have them hunting through the house together, or hunting through the house separately for their own clues?
That's I think if they do it together, I think it's fun for them to do it together. But I think at the same time, when they're together, our daughter will take over. And not let our son, and not let our son solve his own thing.
Especially if it's taking longer than she's taking.
Not patient. Yeah. So I don't know. We could just give it a try and see how it goes.
Yeah, I was thinking of maybe introducing some physical challenges. I know our kids have definitely been enjoying dancing a lot lately, and our son is often deciding at whim to do push-ups, which is cute and funny. But yeah, I was just thinking of maybe we introduce some form of physical challenges as well here and there. Nothing major, but yeah, just something that they have to do to sort of obtain the next clue. Might be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
And we can even involve, because I don't think that we've ever done us being involved while they're doing it the way that we do with the quests. So something like, like the two-headed monster was pretty funny.
Yes. Yeah.
So if we can come up with something similar in a way that maybe they have to get the clue from us, or maybe we're the key to solve a riddle or something like that, but where we are taking more of a role-playing type of approach rather than just go and chase clues, that's something that they could probably enjoy as well.
That's true. I wonder if we could even apply some of like the Goblin Quest successes and failures into the challenges.
Yeah, see, that's what I was telling you, right? Like, taking into consideration things that we have been doing recently that they're gonna get, that they're familiar with, right? And that they will, it just like ties everything together.
I
think that would be fun. I
think that would be fun. So I think that's another, I guess, personal experience, and hopefully drive some curiosity and inspiration to you, that it doesn't just have to be a chocolate treasure hunt.
And it
or
doesn't
treasure
just have
egg
to be
hunt.
for Easter either,
It doesn't
right?
have to just be for Easter. Yeah, that's true.
Questing is all year long.
All year long.
Board games are for all year as well.
Yes.
Except the summer, I guess. Unless it's raining.
We do often see a decrease in our board game playing during the summer. That's true. We have a lot of outdoor activities that we do and sports. But overall, I think questing, as you said, is a year-round activity.
Yep.
So don't be afraid to try something new. It's, as we said, it's a challenge for us just as much as for the kids to come up with those puzzles. And it allows us to spend a little additional quality time, although, as you said, sometimes it's rushed.
No, but I'm impressed with what we put together.
What we put together, yes, yeah. Especially the riddles, because we've often come up with the riddles ourselves versus just Googling
exactly.
An established riddle. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll post an update on how we do this year and whether we're able to prepare at least more than one night ahead of time.
So we challenge you to try something new as well.
And let us know in the comments if you did.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.